Hey, and welcome to another Podcast Valley Sunday. I am one of your hosts, Chris Paco.
And I'm your other host, Jeff Cameron.
How's it going, Jeff?
It's still pretty good, even though it's been quite some time.
It has been a very long time, and I didn't expect it to be so long at all.
Nay, me neither.
So, one thing we have to say, we might sound a bit different. We have some different equipment here. We're together with each other, but we are using two different recording devices.
Yep.
So hopefully it all works out. But yeah, so it's been a long time. We plan to do, we're going to have two head episodes. One's going to be a commentary to the movie while it's playing, while we're psychedelic. And another one is just going to be a regular breakdown of it. And I thought we would get to that this summer, but summer just gets action-packed. And what can you do about it?
Yep.
But anyway, we are here to talk about the Monkees episode number 781, A Lizard Sunning Itself on a Rock, a.k.a. Hey, it's the Monkees.
Finally wrapping up the series. Amazing.
Yes. Directed by Michael Nesmith, written by Michael Nesmith, and originally aired February 17th, 1997.
Incredible.
Which is crazy.
That's, man.
I remember when it came out, and it was just like, you heard this thing's coming up. And it was like, what? Really? Wait, all four of them?
All four of them.
A TV show? What's it going to be about? And
Did we know about the CD before the TV show? I presume so.
we must have, because I swear, I thought for sure we saw them in 96.
I thought so too.
And this comes out in 97.
Where's the ticket stub?
Yeah, I do have it, actually. It might be in the other room. I could grab it.
Well,
hold on. I'm going to see if I can grab it.
A few minutes later.
Of a Gob ticket.
Wow.
Metallica. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. We've got Rusty. Edgefest 96. Kiss. The Monkees. Right here.
Okay.
July 22nd, 1996. At Molson Amphitheater, rain or shine. But yeah.
'Cause They did not have any new songs when we saw them. They were just the Monkees.
Yes. They were just monkeying
touring
around.
about.
Yes. So anyway, hold on. Let me put this stuff away. I also have Biodome ticket stubs here. Just
Good Lord.
also from 1996. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so this show, again, came out of nowhere. New record coming. Now that we have a better idea of the timeline
Yeah,
of things.
it all runs together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 96, they were just touring, being the three of them, going out on tour. And then 97 comes along. They do a big push, a big Monkees push to really drum up some young support, I guess.
For real. And they've put out this CD, Justice.
Yep.
And it's just them.
Yep.
And it's, well, it is what it is.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun. A couple older songs redid. And one song that's an older song that we didn't realize was an older song at the time until we talked about it later on doing this podcast. But we'll talk about that more in a bit.
Yeah.
It's called the Keys, Paco. It's a radio thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's get into this now. So we open it up to the sounds of a TV finding a station, and then we see Davey and Mickey in the Pad's kitchen, and it all looks great. Like,
It looks great.
it's perfect.
Like, they rebuilt the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, I presume they didn't just dust off the old one, but the stuff on the walls is the stuff on the walls.
Yeah.
We are back at the pad.
Yeah. And Davey asks Mickey what he's doing, and Mickey's wearing a welder's helmet, and he sets down a jar of fizzy fire. And Mickey says it's their ticket to success. And he says that if you drink this stuff anytime you want, you can throw up.
That is our ticket to success. Drink that, and anytime you want, you can throw up. Throw up.
I don't know.
It's a very 90s thing. Ren and Stimpy, gross stuff happening. Like, just Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
let's
you're
be gross a little. They couldn't talk about barfing on the original show of the Monkees.
Yeah, and they wanted to so badly, and now they finally can.
But they lean into it for quite a bit of this episode.
Yeah, they really do. So then the doorbell rings,
I'll get it.
and Mickey walks over to it, and it's a sweeping shot of the pad, and we see Mike sitting at the table and Peter holding what could be green water pistols, or might be two cucumbers. I can't tell. SD. You got to put this on Blu-ray. I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah, we should tell people where they can find the video itself.
Yes, it is on YouTube. I used my old VHS tape of it that I digitized a couple years back. I digitized all my old VHS tapes, and this was one of them.
Ooh.
And so I watched that.
That's your version of it posted?
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
not. No. I just watched my own version of it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. The one online though, it looks not bad.
It's not terrible. It looks better than the new Monkees did.
Yes,
But,
that's true.
Did you have the commercials on your version and stuff like that?
No, I didn't. Because weird thing, at the time, you never wanted to have commercials
We
on
paused
stuff.
them all out. All
And
the
now
time.
it's like, man, I'd love to see those commercials. And now there's just like 3-hour YouTube videos of
Watch
just
YouTube
commercials,
videos, just commercials.
which I have done, and it is awesome.
Yep.
So Mickey opens the door, and a guy asks if this is the Monkees' pad. And he tells them that they'd be named in a will and will get their entire fortune if they stay one night in the haunted mansion. Mickey thinks about it for a second and tells them that they've already done that one. And indeed they did. It's the second episode, Monkey See, Monkey Die. That was the one. And Mickey calls for Mike to see if they have it. And Mike says it was years ago.
Oh, gosh, it was years ago, like episode 186 or something. We were wearing bell-bottoms.
Mike's a little hazy on the details.
And Mickey tells the guy that they already did that one. And he gives him a cup of the fizzy fire, and the guy takes it. Mickey closes the door and waits, and we hear the guy throw up. And Mickey's so happy to hear this guy barf.
It worked. It was nice they also reinforced the fact that Mickey is like the mad scientist guy.
Yes.
They get right to it.
Yeah.
It's part of his character traits on the show, definitely.
Yeah, and to have him fall into the roles is just awesome.
And Peter kind of throwing asides in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
Peter's not so much the dummy, but like kind of like not the sarcastic. I don't know how to
The tangent guy, just
Yeah.
sort of talking about what you're talking about, but not really.
More flighty guy. He's not dummy. He's just kind of like flighty kind of
Yeah.
guy. So anyways, get the intro. Boom. And this is obviously not the regular intro we're used to. The song is being updated. It's a video of the Monkees as they were then. And then we see the Monkey Mobile driving down the street and bouncing. Guys playing on stage as well as hanging out in the pad. They hang out on the beach, obviously. And playing the piano in the sand, some behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Just that kind of stuff. And then
This might be our first example of the four of them playing the song.
yeah.
Because it leads you to think that when they're in the studio doing the Justice stuff, they re-recorded some of the Monkey stuff, including the theme song, including some things that they probably didn't originally play on, just the four of them
Definitely.
at the same time. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'd almost love to see that, like the making of Justice, and see like how they interacted. If they, you know what I mean, like
It is Mike Nesmith, Mr. Video, and it'd be weird to think they didn't.
yeah,
But maybe they did, or maybe it just didn't come off good, or maybe, I don't know.
maybe it's just boring in the studio stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like
Should have asked them.
I should have asked them next time.
Whoops.
So we come back to the pad. Mickey's talking about a band that got a gig. They didn't because the other band trashed the place. And Peter's walking by and says,
There are a lot of funny euphemisms for throw up.
Mickey says the reason the band got the gig was because they had a gimmick. And Davey says it's because they were rich.
Like, toss your cookies?
And Mickey agrees with Davey and says they were rich and tries to remember the name of that band with the blood and the makeup. And Davey says,
Kiss? No thanks.
and Mike walks in and Mickey's still going on about the band with the forked tongue. And Mike hears him and says,
Kiss?
No, but Davey wants one.
you can see Mike writing this episode at
Yeah,
times.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like his sense of humor really pushes through everything.
It's true.
Or driving the porcelain bus?
Mickey says he thinks that they should be the first throw-up band.
Hey, we're the Monkees. People say we blah. Kids will love it.
And Mike gives him a look. I almost feel like that's actually Mike Nesmith, not character Mike. Just like, oh my God, throw-up band. Davey tells him for 2-year-olds, maybe, and that they're playing the most prestigious country club in the city. And Mike says,
The name of the band is Kiss.
still kind of working on that one. And Davey says they can't just go to this gig and just...
Blow chow, although that's a lot like blow lunch.
See, I was thinking blow chunks. Right.
Yeah, blow chunks.
That's what I hear is blow chunks.
I had that thought as well. But how come they had a problem with the staying in the old place for the inheritance, but they're willing to do this plot, which was at least 2 of the first 10 episodes?
It's true. Yeah, this is the like the pilot, right?
Yeah.
This is She should have taken his jacket.
She's got my jacket.
No jacket references in this. They dropped the ball on
Yeah,
that.
weak, Mike. You blew it.
Come on.
So Mickey says it doesn't have to be gross. It could be confetti. And Davey tells him that it doesn't matter. They just have to play it straight tonight at the club. And Mike says he can do a Tasmanian kabuki and goes into a weird dance that turns into a whirlwind like the Tasmanian devil in the cartoon, which is it's weird.
Oh, Rhino's a part of Warner, so yeah, they're allowed.
I guess so, yeah. And then Mickey thinks it's great, but Davey says it's not great. It's silly. And Peter asks what's in the fizzy fire. And Mickey tells him not to ask. Mike says that Davey's right. They don't need a gimmick.
Davey's right. We don't really need a gimmick. I mean, it's like believe. I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows.
And every time the Monkees sing, they also blow.
Mickey's really into this barfing idea. D. Caruso can't believe what they did to the show. He's like barfing. Freaking hacks. I don't get a call. My phone did not ring twice in the 90s. Anyway, thank you, D.
Thanks for stopping by, D. Been a while.
So anyway, Davey goes to the fridge, and in the door of the fridge there's a fish, a plastic dinosaur, a femur bone, a big puzzle piece, and a football, along with a sign I couldn't read because of stupid standard definition. Inside the fridge, someone's giving a tour, pointing out a tomato that was thrown at Mickey in 1983.
On your right, the remnant of a tomato hurled at Mickey during a concert in 1983 by an irate cattleman who believed he had purchased tickets to a chili cook-off.
He's bringing the group into the freezer where they can see the world's first TV dinner. So inside the fridge, there's the tomato in question, and I think a bottle of Orbits, and a Beethoven bust, and a T-Rex toy, a lobster wearing a Groucho mask, a mask and snorkel, a hot dog, and a 90s cell phone.
Now, there's a couple moments in here to me that feel very the new Monkees, and this was one of them.
Yes.
It felt like the kind of joke they would tell. It felt like the kind of stuff that would be on the screen.
But I agree. It was kind of new Monkees. There's a couple flourishes of that. Again, trying to fit in with the times.
Yeah.
Even though the new Monkees was 10 years before this was. But...
Yeah, around 10. Yeah, almost exactly 10 years. But
Yeah.
still, just that kind of weird for the sake of weird.
Yeah.
That new Monkees was going for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that the original Monkees had, but in a 60s lesser version of it, right?
It's a different perspective when we weren't living in the 60s.
Yeah.
We just kind of watch it. Yeah, it's the 60s.
Yeah, that's how it goes. So Davey takes a pineapple and tells Mickey that gimmicks are terrible and they won't do one. Mickey says that the Davey falling in love stars were a gimmick, and Davey says they weren't because he had no control over that. It happened a long time ago. So his dart comes out of Davey's ear, and Mickey asks, what about that one?
Leftovers.
Imagine Davey just has these stars falling at him every once in a while. Girls fall in love with him. So Davey says that it happened the other day at the post office, but it wasn't his fault. And Peter says that he can do a Donald Duck having a temper tantrum. It spazzes out for a little bit with all these yellow lines around him and stuff. It's kind of neat looking, to be honest. But so anyway, Mike's on the stage in the living room in front of the window. He says they better practice soon before another plot line shows up. And Mike asks if they still have to dress alike. And Davey says they do because people still want to see a professional show. And I honestly thought that they were going to put on the shirts. I thought they were going to have the 8-button shirts.
Huh. No dice.
No. So Mickey asks if they can all dress up like professional wrestlers. And we flash to 4 guys dressed up in Monkey Men-esque suits. But they're all different colors.
Yeah.
So Mike is blue, Mickey's red, Davey's purple, Peter's yellow. Do you think that was like a Power Rangers nod?
I don't know. I think they just look like cheesy wrestlers.
All right, because they did look Power Rangers-esque. But anyway, Davey's not into that idea either. Davey doesn't like anything.
No.
Grumpy old Jones. So Mike asks...
Is this a club that wouldn't let in Ethel Merman because she was wearing pants?
And it leads to a joke tossed around that ends with...
Esther Merman's the underwater singer.
Yeah, you can piece together the underwater singer thing for yourself. Because it'll make just as much sense.
Who writes that stuff?
They lean a lot on Ethel Merman in this episode.
They do.
They're coming up. They really lean into it, which is kind of...
You wouldn't think this was foreshadowing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is.
It is, yeah. Davey says they better start rehearsal before, and he's cut off as the door swings open and a young blonde girl comes running across the pad right up to Davey. She says she needs his help because a bunch of guys are chasing her with cell phones. Like, what? And black gloves. And then there's thunder and lightning, which is very weird. So Davey says they already did that one too and asks Mike when. And he says,
Ages ago, but there's no cell phone.
and the cell phones thing's a weird thing to throw in 1997, because it would mean the shady people had cell phones, I guess.
We kind of did.
Yeah.
Beeper, yeah, for sure. The cell phone, you were like a rich drug dealer.
Yeah.
This is very early cell phone talk. Yes.
Yeah, especially it to be so common. It's very weird.
And the black gloves, I think that this might be shorthand for TV bad guy stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So Mickey tells her that they're trying to rehearse, and she comes with another idea that she's lost her memory, and they found her at a bus stop with a note pinned to her address that says "Return to sender." And Davey's into that idea, but the other guy's not so much. So Davey apologizes to her and says they have to rehearse for this prestigious gig, and she asks if she can listen. Davey says, yeah, okay, fine. And she says she came with some friends, and goes to the door and whistles, and a big crowd of people come rushing in. And Mickey says,
We weren't expecting an audience, but since you're here, there's drinks in the microwave.
That's a great joke. And also microwave. That's a new thing in the pad.
Correct.
Right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So we see the Monkees kick drum and hear a cow moo, and then they break into You and I, not the awesome one. And we see Mickey, and the first thing I thought was, what the hell is Dolan's wearing? Right? Like, I truly don't know how to describe what it is. It's a black and purple kind of cape-like thing, and he's wearing a triangle hat that looks like one of the clown toys wear. And like when they're riding a unicycle, you know what I mean? Those weird clown toys.
Yeah.
So anyway, it turns out he's kind of bundled up because they're on an ice rink, and there's like figure skaters that kind of go between them, and it's a whole figure skater motif for the video. Each of the guys wearing like toques, wool hats, but not the wool hat.
No, conspicuously no green wool hats.
If there's ever a place to wear it,
Yeah.
here it is.
Here's
right?
your excuse.
Yeah.
No dice.
But I understand why Mike shies away from. I get it, but now is the time. Just one shot.
Just
give
once.
us one shot.
Come on, man.
So anyway, there are shots of the guys bundling up, and a hilarious one of a guy figure skater spinning around with a guitar. And
That was Mike Nesmith. That's Mike Nesmith.
Spinning around.
You forget Mike plays guitar in the Monkees. Also happens to be a proficient figure skater, it turns out. Who knew?
He never mentions that in his books.
But this was the song that later, when you and I did our episode about Dolan Jones' Voice and Heart, and there's a song on that album called You and I, and it's this version of You and I.
Yeah.
And it blew our minds just a little.
Yeah.
And so, like, on this reunion album, they had a song from the other reunion album that could have been a Monkees album, but it wasn't. They only had two of them. But now it's the four of them doing You and I, which is like a song written by Mickey and Davey, probably about each other and what they've been through. And now they got the other guys there.
Yeah.
Which I think they allude to in the lyrics, like, the other guys didn't make it, but you and me, we got there. Like, yee.
Yeah, it was awkward when they brought it up. What if Mike's like, I've never heard this song before?
A lot of people didn't, Mike. A lot of people didn't. But they're for sure Monkees fans who were around for all of this, who were around when Dolan Jones' Boy Start came out.
Yeah.
And were around for this. And they're like, whoa!
Yeah. Holy smokes, this is that song. I can't believe I never hear this song again.
I got the 8-track.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't understand this video at all. If it's supposed to be funny, it should have gone further so it's actually funny. And if it's not supposed to be funny, they completely missed. Like,
look, it ain't Gondry, man. All right, it's just a video for their thing.
But what? I just don't understand the figure skaters. You know what I mean?
We didn't even talk about the dog mascot, have we?
Oh yeah, and I have written down here, and there's a mascot of a dog for some reason, and he's kind of zipping around too, and it's just a weird. Why figure skating for this You and I song? Like, could have been anything else.
I'm sure we won't see that dog again.
Yeah. I'll bet my bottom dollar on it. So then there's a commercial break. So we come back to the boys finishing playing the song, and Davey says that it sounded great, but they better rehearse some of the old stuff because people still want to hear it. Like, yeah, you're right.
Should I?
Imagine you go see the Monkees and they only play the new record. Balls.
Pure balls.
That'd be amazing. So Mickey says,
Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's start with Clarksville, huh?
and then for whatever reason, when he said that, they all looked at each other and the riff came in. It really hit me. It's like the four of the Monkees. Like, it's the first time when you're like, holy,
guys.
there they are. Like Mickey can say, let's do Clarksville. And they really could do Clarksville, like the four of them as the Monkees if they wanted to.
Yep.
And it's awesome. Yeah, it was a really cool moment, right? So anyway, they start the song and then the laugh track goes off. And Mickey asks what that is, and Mike tells him it's a laugh track. And Peter says, it sounds like it's broken. And Mike says he likes it when that happens. And he says,
The house is on fire. People are starving. There is no fruit.
Uproarious laugh.
oh, yeah, it's pretty funny. And Davey says they better shut it off and goes to the panel on the wall and pulls a lever down and turns to booze. And then he pulls a different lever and the audience goes crazy. And Mickey tells him to turn it all off. And Davey says, even the wild applause? And Mike says, yeah, so they shut it all off.
Well, you know Davey's kind of into applause.
Yes, out of anything. And so suddenly we see a lizard sunning itself on a rock, and we jump back to the show, and it acts like it's been like an earthquake. Mickey asks what that is, and Mike says,
Lizard sunning itself on a rock.
What?
Stock footage. I think the show may be a little short of film, and they're having to put in this stock shot that they're getting from a film library.
It cuts back to the lizard, then back to the boys, where it's like an earthquake again. And Davey says it's annoying, and Mickey suggests they go to the beach. A thought bubble pops over Peter's head that says, I think, therefore I thwim. And he says,
Suits me. I'm starting to get thought balloons.
I don't think they had a thought balloon since season 1.
I don't know, yeah, like when Peter stole the
Linens?
Yeah,
that was
that's not
like
even a
the
thought
first
balloon.
one.
Yeah, that was
an
like a...
early one.
Yeah, it's true. Peter waves the thought balloon away, and Davey turns the wild applause back on and thanks the crowd before Mickey drags him out. So we cut to the beach, and For Pete's Sake is playing, but it's like a weird, funky-esque instrumental version of it.
Yeah.
Peter and Mike are running towards the water, running away, blah, 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 as it comes in. Like classic Monkees intro stuff.
Yes, definitely. In the spot, too, the big rocks. And all
Yeah.
That's definitely a Big Sur or something. That's a specific spot in California, for sure, yeah.
And Mickey and Dave are sitting on chairs in the sand, and Davey's going on about not needing a gimmick. And he says, it's always been just us. Wink, wink.
Winkety wink.
And Mickey's playing with a crab and lobster, talking to each other. And Davey says Mike has turned the monkey mobile into a lowrider, and Mickey can't believe it. Mike and Peter sit down, and Mickey asks Mike about the lowrider monkey mobile. And he says that he was in traffic and saw a car bouncing up and down like one of those colorful South American birds.
Oh, boy.
And Mickey says the car was their special thing. And Mike says that it's still the Monkees. It's just the different dimension mobile now.
Mm-hmm.
And, or dimension machine, he calls it. And it says like a time machine, but can go to different dimensions. And so Mickey says they cannot go into a prestigious club in a bouncing bird. And Peter says,
We can if we're in another dimension.
and Mickey protests, and Mike says they can put it back the way it was. And Mickey says he hopes so. You can't change the monkey mobile. A thought balloon pops up, and we see Mickey giving a tour and showing the bones of the Elephant Man, the bones of the Invisible Man, which is hilarious.
So that's an incredible, inexpensive joke.
Yes. And the transmission of the monkey mobile. And we cut back to Mickey on the beach. He says,
It's a classic.
So Mickey then goes off with the lobster and the crab for a while and starts to cry on Mike's shoulder when one of them dies. And Peter laughs. And I think it's a genuine laugh that happened in the moment. That's unscripted. You kind of see Peter like gauge it and then start laughing. And I always
It's fun
love,
when that happens.
yeah, and I like it when especially they do because it's fun to see that the four of them having fun together.
Yeah, cracking each other up. And yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Again, I wish we could have seen like a making of this episode to see them hanging out as them, them, you know.
Yeah, well, they're the 30th anniversary is coming up.
Yeah, it'd be like a Get Back kind of release. Peter Jackson will get the Monkees tapes.
Oh my God!
But anyway,
Get on it, Rhino.
Yeah. So Davey says I've got to get going because still have to rehearse for the gig. That's only a couple hours away. And tells Mike to fix the car. And Peter tells him to keep the dimensional thing, though. It's funny. They keep saying, we got to rehearse. We got to rehearse. We got to rehearse. And they keep finding ways to not rehearse, which is kind of funny.
I mean, at least it's about them being in a band. Remember how many episodes of the show were like,
That's true.
It was not about a band.
That's really true. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, so Mickey says he doesn't want to go back to the pad. And Davey says they could do it right here on the beach. and all their gear is set up on a little stage.
Hey, look.
This could draw a crowd.
Yeah, in your dreams.
And you brought up
Yeah.
watching them leap onto that stage, like
they're-
spry young men.
Oddly spry. Like, they're like dad era Monkees. They're not like the young dudes from the 60s TV show. They're not the sort of elder statesmen from the Mike and Mickey show. They're like in between, and they're wearing little shorts and sandals, and they're gonna hop up on the stage.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's strange to see.
It looks like someone throws Mike up there. Like he just fires up onto that stage.
A
It's
little
amazing.
trampoline.
Yeah.
But like, I think you mentioned we're seeing a bit too much of the Monkees' legs.
Yeah.
In this one.
Like longer shorts, just to your knees. Like they're
Just
wearing
shoot, like,
shorts.
chest up or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Even like Mickey's got longer shorts on. So does Davey kind of, but they're probably short shorts. But Davey, they look like
Oh my
long
god,
shorts.
hot pants. But there's some pale ass getaway sticks on our boys.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah, for real. So anyway, Mike counts into Circle Sky, new version.
Go, Circle Sky, new version. 1, 2, 3, pow!
And then they break into like a grungy sound of Circle Sky. And it cuts to like another video. It's like a whole bunch of different TVs, and they're on all the TVs, and the camera like moves between them all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool, right? The gimmick is the video. Like
Yeah.
they hook onto one thing, and that's what they do. You just move between these TVs and see them playing on all these separate televisions. It's cool effect, one trick pony.
There's some lyric adjustments to the song too, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. And all the different TVs are cool. Like probably to like a younger person, because now they all look like little rectangles. But back then, TVs had their own look.
Yeah, for real. And we talked a little when we did our rewatch about Circle Sky itself, which to us, finished pretty high on our countdown. But it's like a pretty important song to us. But in the 90s, to a casual person who doesn't know a ton about the Monkees, they might not even know about that song because it
100%.
was buried on that movie that nobody saw. And if you didn't get the box set, if you didn't get the reissued soundtrack, it's just this grungy song.
Yeah.
But it was pretty grungy back then too. But
It's
I think
true.
this is probably the second best version of the song, behind the live one from the movie.
Yeah.
And there's this one, and then there's the one that's actually on the head soundtrack, which is
So weird.
they thought tambourine was the lead instrument or something. I don't know, or
It's true.
maraca. The percussion was up too high.
Oh yeah.
on the.
Yeah.
But I digress. Back
Yeah.
to the special.
But also the dog mascot makes another appearance. So there goes my bottom dollar.
Ah, your last one.
But I feel the dog mascot should have been replaced with Mr. Schneider. And it would
not?
have been it would have made more sense. It would have been awesome to see.
Superb.
Maybe that was out of the budget because I don't know what happened to Mr. Schneider. Or he looks like, you see like on E.T., he looks like now he's all disintegrated.
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah,
It's
might
like,
have been
see
something
Mr.
like that.
Schneider's terrifying.
Demands were too high.
Yeah.
He pulled a mic. Schneider, even Mike's back for this one.
My nose fell off last week. I'm not coming on a goddamn TV show. What I hear about throwing up? That's the show now? Throwing up? Jesus. What, you see their thighs? So anyway, commercial break.
Oh, double good.
And we come back and the Monkees see a kid crying and Peter asks if they were that bad. The kid tells him that he's raised a pig since birth and his dad wants to sell it for bacon. And Mickey thinks that's a good idea for show, but Mike gives him the timeout gesture.
We did that. It was a calf thing, but it was essentially the same story.
Peter says they can't just let the kid cry. They need to entertain him somehow. And Mike starts to quote the Grapes of Wrath.
Wherever there's a cop beating up on a guy, I'm going to be there. Wherever there's the poor and the homeless and the hungry, I'll be there.
Davey asks what Mike did, and he says that he's doing the closing scene from the Grapes of Wrath, one of the greatest scenes in cinematic history, because Peter says to entertain him. And I thought that was hilarious. It's such a
deep cut reference.
Yeah, just so funny, and oh, it killed me. And Davey says, well, he's scaring the kid.
You have to entertain with a capital E.
And Davey starts to sing Gonna Build a Mountain with the wrong words.
Gonna build a mountain from a little rope. Gonna need an onion and a little salt.
That's hilarious.
Who had a callback to Live 67 on their bingo card?
Yeah, for real, right? Peter says, those aren't the words, are they? And Davey says he can never remember them, but it's not about the words. It's about the feeling you put into them. And Mickey says he can entertain the kid.
Hey, kid,
Want to see me throw up?
Yeah.
Kid totally into it. So they all walk away, and Mickey throws up confetti and fireworks, and the kid is super stoked about it.
Oh, yeah.
He asks Mickey if he can do it again. He says yes, and the kid says he's got to get his friends. And Peter asks about the pet pig, and the kid says he never really liked him anyway. What a dick, this kid.
It was Peter Percival Patterson.
Yeah. The boys walk down the beach, and Davey asks if they need a storyline. And Peter liked the pig idea.
Sweet and scary at the same time.
And Mike says it doesn't matter as long as they're having a good time, which is true. That's kind of what we were just talking about. You just want to see them having a good time together.
Yep. That's true.
And that's what they gave us.
Mm-hmm.
So Davey asks if it's okay that we don't have any visible means of support. And Mickey asks him why their means have to be visible.
Mm.
And Davey asks if they should have some more dramatic tension, some drama, some worry, some kind of goal.
Why? I mean, we've been hanging out like this for years. Once every 5 years or so, a good storyline comes along. But other than that, it's better just be hanging out, having a good time. We're on the beach. Life is a bowl of oysters. What could be better?
Every 5 years.
Yeah.
Insane. Imagine the Monkees was on all this time.
Man, life's a bowl of oysters. That's what Mike says. It's neat to hear Mike just say, like, we've been hanging out for years. Like, just like to think if they had been hanging out for years.
He's really buying into this alternate dimension version of the Monkees where they are together. They never like, broke up. And it's... He put it together, man.
Yeah.
And he was into it for a minute, that's for sure.
Yeah, for real. Like I say, it's a really great line and a really great way to look at life. Like, I think we're getting a little glimpse into the life of Pop and Nez. Like,
yeah, for real.
Like, real time. Because, like, out of all the Monkees, he probably had I don't want to say the easiest go of it, but he kind of did. Like, he didn't need the Monkees. He didn't need anything.
No.
Because he had all that money. But his ventures, if you read his book, it's like he did all these ventures and all these things that he was always on the cusp of being the guy.
And there were like, yes, he's involved in a lot of stuff. He rolled the dice on some stuff that might not have worked, but it turned out all right.
Yeah.
Like buying up all the video collections and things and starting Pop Clips and all that. And it worked out all good, but there was no guarantee it would have.
Yeah.
But it just kept on working out.
But it was also art. Remember, he bought all that art and ended up being insanely successful.
Yeah.
Like, from his book, Mike Nesmith fell backwards into money his whole life. Like, he would, like, buy up these things, do this, do that, and they all kind of flourished at certain times when he needed them to. And it was, kind of amazing.
And, like, that kept him busy. And, like he's alluded to, like, when they asked him to do stuff, it's like, not that he didn't want to, but he was, like, in the middle of doing other stuff.
So Peter says, but what if the pig talked? Going back to the pig idea. Mike tells him it wouldn't matter if the pig talked. And Davey comes up with an idea about the landlord needing the rent payment. And all of a sudden, they're on a desert island.
Rent? We probably own the house by now. And besides, who wants to do a story just for the sake of doing a story?
And I bet you this is something Mike was thinking about when making, like, people coming to him, hey, we should do this. Why? Why? What are we doing?
The ghost of Mr. Babbitt came to him in a dream.
Yeah. So Mickey says, well, that's how he felt about changing the Monkey Mobile. And Davey says that's how he felt about tossing sandwiches. And he asked Peter what he thinks. And he says, no sandwiches. If the pig talked, it wouldn't work. And then we cut to the lizard sunning itself on a rock again, back to the beach, and the guys react to it. And Davey says they need a story. Like, he's really sticks to the things he wants. You got to say. And Mike says,
We just need to do music.
and then the piano shows up on the beach. They go over to it, and Peter starts playing. And he'll start singing Antarctica. And it's so weird.
It seems like just them goofing around in the studio, almost like a No Time or a Band 6 kind of thing, where Pete's just on the piano playing a grand thing, and one of them just starts singing about Antarctica. They all join in. Somehow it doesn't make the cut on Justice. But anyway, above or below, Never Tell a Woman Yes, Paco. What do you think, Antarctica?
I'd go Antarctica above.
Antarctica above. All right, Antarctica, number 232 on the Randomatic Countdown.
So anyway, we cut to like Antarctica, and the boys are all bundled up again. There's people walking by with a husky, and it's just so weird, but it's also so funny. And then we cut to a stuffed animal moose head on a plaque, and a picture of a pipe that's made out of clouds that says, "This is not a pipe." And the camera moves down to pictures of the boys that are on the closing credits of the show. And it says,
Yeah.
"This is not a band."
Yeah.
Then down to a golf bag with a bunch of stuff in it, including a glove with the Monkees on it. And Peter grabs it. He's dressed up in a suit, and he carries it over to the guys who are also all in suits, looking at themselves in front of the mirror. And so, like, this is them all dressing alike. Like, I thought instead of the tuxes, like I said, I thought it was going to be the 8 buttons.
Yeah.
But I get, maybe the 8 buttons don't look so good on grown dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or it would have been cool if they're wearing their monkey suits. You know, the ones they would wear when they're all slightly different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they don't fit no more.
There's no way.
No fucking way.
No way do those fit. They're fucking... That's what Mr. Schneider's wearing. So Mickey asks if they saw how much the kid liked his throw-up idea. And Mike says, yeah, but he was 8. And Davey says to stop calling it throw-up. It was confetti. And Peter says...
It's magic monkey dust.
And Mickey says they should just call it the Magic Monkey Hurl. Davey says even 8-year-olds deserve better than that and brings up a reference to Barney the dinosaur.
Boy, oh boy.
And it's kind of funny. They do have a little talk about Barney and how enormously successful he is, but he's made for 4-year-olds. Like, he shouldn't be as famous as he is. It's for like little tiny babies. But anyway, Peter says, "Remember these?" and lifts up the monkey's glove. And each of them is one of the fingers. And Finger Mike has a red wool hat on, which is weird. And Davey says the glove's exactly what Barney is doing, except on a huge scale. And Peter asks if they don't think playing for kids would be fun. And Davey says that it is fun.
But I don't think we have to do any more than play our music. I mean, maybe a few dance steps, but other than that, we're the Monkees. That's all we need to be.
And the lights go down, and they each stick out their hands to the camera. And it's like, that's all it needs to be. And it's like that classic Monkees. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I thought maybe Mike would shoot his hand the other way, but not this time.
Nope. So we cut to 2 young people in a car, and the girl says that hundreds of years ago, 4 guys moved into that house and never moved out. And they have chainsaws and hockey masks and chase little kids. And she asks if he's scared, then asks if he wants to kiss.
I'm scared of kissing you.
Like, bro, what's your problem? This girl is a very attractive girl. She wants to kiss you. Kiss her. But anyway, then Mickey pops into the frame and says, "And so he should be." He tells the camera to follow him. And he says that in this world of safe sex, they forgot about safe kissing. He goes off about kissing isn't as dangerous as bringing a toaster in the bathtub, but it can be dangerous.
Remember at the beginning of the show when Davey asked me for that kiss? Now that was as dangerous as it was bizarre.
And Mickey walks over to the monkey mobile, which looks amazing. Mm-hmm. But you can see it has the little wheels on it, so you know it's one of those cars that
gonna
bounce.
be hopping. It's gonna be
Right.
hopping.
So it starts bouncing, and he gets all pissed off. And Mike says he'll fix it, and they all jump in and take off.
That little stretch when Mickey is talking to the camera about safe sex, about a toaster in the bathtub. These are things you couldn't say back then. Yeah. These are things you probably can't say now on ABC in prime time.
It's true. Yeah.
It's wild that he's even talking about these things. A suicide joke?
Yeah. There's a couple things in here that I'm like, oh, interesting. Like, yeah, the 90s was that sweet spot where you could get away with so much stuff. I also kind of wanted to see where he was going with that safe kissing thing. I was like, where's this? What's going to happen here?
Uh-huh. Oh, well.
Nothing.
Maybe just us two.
Yeah.
In 2037, we'll find out.
Just me.
Oh, my God.
No, is that too dark? I don't know. But,
hey, I'm a monkey.
But anyway.
The prophecy has completed.
Yes.
Anyway.
So they're in the monkey mobile, Mike driving, Peter shotgun, Mickey behind Mike, Davey behind Peter. And Mickey's complaining that the bouncing monkey mobile ruined his bit about the dangers of kissing. And it also is funny to think, like, in this version of them, they do these bits and stuff and they get interrupted, and I was doing a bit there. Didn't you see me? I was doing a bit. It's kind of funny. Davey asks why, and Mickey tells him about the people in the car and the girls trying to scare the guy into kissing her.
It always worked for me.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep driving, and Mickey shows how the dimensions work through the radio, and he hits the button and says, this is the first dimension. It's the 4 of them driving, but it's far away in like a little circle. And Mike says, not a lot to do here. He hits the second dimension. The picture flips around for a bit. The third dimension is the one they're in now. So the fourth dimension gets weird and trippy and shows stuff from the past, and Mike says that's as far as he got. Peter points out that there's more buttons and presses one of them, and Mike says that's the 60s button, and it changes them back into the 60s as well as everything around the car for 100 yards. See, now, we see some flashes of the show from Head and from 33 and a third. Peter asks the last one does, and Mike says that it changes from one object into another object. And Davy's head is put on Mickey's body, but not like a realistic CG
No,
way.
it's a weird, it's a weird little moment. It's not even that different looking.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, it's like a Cable 10. You get to tour the studio, and they show you how they can do these weird effects.
Yep.
And then, it's weird. And so Mike says,
It doesn't really work right yet. The real problem is that none of it stays completely in the car.
Very Monkees.
Yeah, thanks.
this is a thing now, if they did it, like everything outside of the car, you'd probably see outside of the car as they're driving, things turning into the 60s.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? And again, Mike Nesmith, ahead of the curve.
Yep.
Like, he had these ideas to do things and, worked with technology, but couldn't quite get there. So Mickey says he still wishes that everything was the way it was. And Davey says, me too. And Mike says, not even the hop? And Mickey does the meh hand wave. And Mike takes the steering wheel off and hands it to Peter.
You drive. Okay. I'm tired.
And they drive away. So they pull up to a club that has a sign that says the most prestigious country club in the world. No, really.
Yep.
And drive through the gates. Inside, they're setting up for the night, and the boys come through the doors, and the security guard asks who they are, and they say they're the Monkees. And the guy gets super stoked and then says,
Yeah, right. And I'm Ethel Merman.
Davey busts through the other three, dressed like Ethel Merman, I assume.
No, I'm Ethel Merman.
And he does this whole song and dance, and the security guard says it's outstanding. We can't let women in who are wearing pants. But this is obviously a callback to when Mike said it earlier.
Yeah.
And Davey tosses the guard his walking stick and whips off his pants. So now he's wearing a skirt. And he sashays around for a bit. He's got the stockings with the line up the back. And it's just such a weird Ethel Merman sketch that it's just so weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's no guns, there's no gavels, but we got a monkey in drag.
So at least there's that. But it's just so weird. Like, was Ethel Merman super
Was
big
this
in
Mickey's
like
idea?
the mid-90s?
Or no, was this Davy's idea?
Yeah.
Strange.
I could do a great Ethel Merman, man.
You had a tune. That was almost like Ozzy.
I know. Yeah, it's a bit sick. Merman, man. Hey. The guys are on stage, and Peter says he can't believe the guard wasn't going to let him in. And Mickey says it was quick thinking on Davy's part.
I never met a guard yet that wasn't a sucker for Ethel Merman.
Which makes me wonder how many times he's pulled out the old Ethel Merman switcheroo on the guards.
As many as he wants, apparently.
Yes. And then they start to play Regional Girl.
Oh, yeah.
So it goes down the lines in black and white, and you get to the end, we see like a crew dude eating a sandwich, and then the dog mascot chilling in a dressing room. And like super short Davy. Like there's no way Davy's this short compared to these women. Because like their waist is at his shoulders. So it's like, unless their legs are insanely long.
But does that deter him?
Heck no.
Not even a little.
Because why would it? I wonder how long Davy Jones was like getting like young ladies. Not too young. You know what I mean? Like still being like Davy Jones.
Yeah.
Like how long that went on for.
I don't know, man.
Probably forever. I would assume. So like there's girls, and then there's the weird things where it's like see girls like changing. Like we go past the door and the girls are changing. They yell at the camera to not let them changing. Back to the Calvin Klein set. Davey like begging this tall woman. Mickey playing air drums. And it's like one idea for the video. And they just keep going back and forth over it.
Mid-90s, the black and white Calvin Klein ad look. And just disinterested models and things.
It took me a second watching this to realize what it was a parody of, just because it's been so long since that kind of ad.
It's been a while.
But they did do cool things like a long shot, like tracking shot along, and then like you'd see Mickey, and then you'd see him again later on the line. So obviously he's like running around
behind, and then he lands it, and then he's actually sings the line like it all matched up.
Yeah,
it's very well done.
Yeah, so there's really cool things like that in this video. But then that's pretty much all it has, really. So,
And it is Regional Girl, one of Paco's favorite songs.
Yes.
And also, when you look up Regional Girl online, there's a dirty version and a clean version, which blows your mind. It's a very 90s thing that the Monkees have a dirty version and a clean version of a song.
Yeah.
Bizarre. Like, you can't sing about coke. You can't sing about the S word or bitches. Guess not. But like they managed to pull it off in this tune.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Props for that, at least.
Yeah. Edgy. Very edgy.
Yeah.
Our boys.
So commercial break. We come back to Chuck Woolery introducing himself as the owner of the club.
Incredible.
Yeah, shocking. And his daughter, who he calls a princess, so Davey's suddenly interested.
A princess?
For our overseas fans, Chuck Woolery was a game show host. He was the original host of Wheel of Fortune, and later on he was the host of Love Connection. And he's just this handsome TV dude, I guess.
Yeah.
So you can talk about Chuck
Doesn't
Woolery.
age.
And he cameos in some Beastie Boys tracks, I believe.
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
On Hey Ladies, yes.
Yeah. Meeting women on TV with the help of Chuck Woolery.
There you have it, folks.
So she uses some weird terms for being dumb, and Peter says,
There's a lot of funny euphemisms for dumb.
and Chuck says he hopes they play a lot of their old hits, because if this night isn't successful, he may, thunder and lightning, lose the club. And Mickey says that losing the club is a good storyline, and Davey says,
Hey, how about if the princess and I are stranded on a desert island? We have one more rent payment to pay, and there's some buried treasure on the other side of the island.
Mike says that they just released a new album, and the daughter wants to hear the old hits, like Boil the Cabbage Down.
Boil Cabbage Down, boys. Unreal.
Awesome.
I think Princess Entwined is her name, which is hysterical.
Yes. Yeah. Mickey says they're mainly going to play the new CD because they need the publicity, and then says,
Boil that cabbage down?
Chuck starts to quote, I'm a believer, and Mickey says they really need to promote the new CD, and we cut to an infomercial for the CD. The infomercial's shot perfectly for an infomercial. Like
Yes.
it's that shitty quality,
Yeah.
and the screen says a monkey shopping land. And time remaining, infinity. Units sold 1. Units remaining, infinity. And it says yell 000 MICK3Y.
Silly. And the CD and the poster Davey keeps holding, it doesn't have a title on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they made this before they made some of the record or something, or before they settled on a name.
Did they
Or
decide the
maybe it
name
was just-
because of the line Davey says earlier? Like it's just
Maybe.
us?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's
Who knows?
maybe they were just going to be just the Monkees. This was going to be their white album. But then Dave's like, nah, man, let's make it something I said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Peter does a great infomercial person and introduces Davey as Davey from the Monkees and Mickey as Martha Stewart. He tries to plug his non-stick cookware and psychic makeup, but Davey plugs the CD, and Peter asks Mickey if he really is Martha Stewart. And he says, yeah. And Peter asks him how to make a wedding dress out of whipped cream frosting. And Mickey says, depends on the flavor. Davey plugs the record again. Davey's a good plug dude. He really gets it across. Good hype man.
For real.
So we cut back to Davey talking to the daughter, explaining how the new record has new songs on it. And she gets the sparkly eyes, and Davey asks how old she is, and she says she doesn't know. And asks if they're going to play hits tonight. And then she gets like peach eyes, then cherry eyes, then slot machine eyes. And for some reason, a hot dog comes out of Davey's eyes. And Davey says they'll play a couple classics. And she asks if Mike will wear the hat. And Davey says maybe. And then we cut to the lizard sunning itself on the rock. And the two of them act like there's an earthquake again. And Davey tells her that it's nothing. And her eyes are still going crazy, so Davey splits. And I wonder for Davey if the girl doesn't know how old she is, if that's okay. If it just doesn't matter. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem.
Counts.
Yeah, she wasn't too young.
Unbelievable.
So Mickey says there's so many things they could do. And Mike says,
What, do the news and interpretive dance?
Mickey breaks into a news anchor. But Davey interrupts and asks Mike if he's wearing the hat.
The wool hat? Davey, I haven't seen that hat in 25 years.
Incredible.
And so Davey asks if he has any other kind of hat, and Mike says,
Well, yeah, I got a baseball hat. But if I wear it with this outfit, I'll scare everybody. I'll look like a cross between a serial killer and Steven Spielberg.
Peter says, or Forrest Gump.
Oh boy.
And then Mike does a Forrest impression, which is weird, but also good.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
And it makes me think Mike could have been Forrest Gump. Could you imagine?
Oh, wow.
Let's just go off on this for a second.
Here we go.
Mike does Forrest Gump and does it amazing and like wins an Oscar and has like a Nesmith-assance because for some reason they choose him to do Forrest Gump. Like, could you imagine? Like, as a Monkees fan, could you be like, what is happening right now?
Could you do Mike drinking 14 Dr. Pepper?
And at one time I drank 14 Dr. Peppers. I almost had to piss on JFK. So Davey says that he told the princess that Mike would wear it and that they'd play some of the old hits. Otherwise, her father might, thunder and lightning, lose the club. Mickey says that it's a ploy, so they'll have a storyline. And Davey says that she had stars in her eyes. So Mickey has a stethoscope on for some reasons, listening to the drums.
It's part of the tuning process.
Yeah.
I thought you were a drummer, Paco.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. That's why my drums are always out of tune. And then the kid from earlier shows up, and his friends are outside the window, and they're jumping up and down, and Mickey notices them and asks what they want, and the kid keeps making barfing motions. And Mickey says that he can't do that now, and the kid begs, so Mickey does it, and the kids go crazy. And then we cut to the lizard sunning itself on a rock. When we cut back to the guys, Mike asks Mickey to do it again, so he does, but then we cut to the lizard again, then back to the boys.
And you notice the car is right there somehow.
Yeah, it's like in the club.
So this goes back to what Mike was saying. Yeah, this stuff doesn't stay in the car. It goes just outside the car. And the car has to be close to the guys for all the effed up shit to happen on stage.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Mike asks Mickey if that's a special effect, not throw up. And Mickey admits that, yeah, it's a special effect. And Mike says that's why they keep losing production money and have to cut to the lizard. They're using it all, this Mickey confetti. And Mickey says that he keeps getting good ideas, but then there's always a side effect. And then notices Chuck Woolery's coming to introduce them, so they all take their places. Chuck calls the people to the stage and asks, when I say the Monkees, what do you think of? And it's crickets. Like, literally, we hear crickets.
Yeah, so do I. Okay, we won't go there tonight.
He does a good job roasting the Monkees in their intro here.
He does. I gotta say, Chuck Woolery does very well at this thing he's supposed to be doing.
Yes, yes.
Like, he could be hamming it up or being like, I don't know, like game showy, but he's not. He's plugged in to exactly the way he's got to play this character.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun way they did it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So he asks how many of them went to school with their Monkees lunchbox and got beaten up, and it's everybody. And he says, yeah, but it made a great weapon though. And then he introduces them, and it's awesome.
But tonight, singing from their brave new record, some songs that you probably won't recognize, along with some of their greatest hits that you've come to know and love. Arlo and Charlie, Humphrey and Bing, also known as Davy, Mickey, Mike, and Peter, it's the Monkees!
It's so funny. But
Unreal.
they play Clarksville, and we see the kids in the Monkey Mobile messing with the radio. And so things get weird. Mickey Drumstick turns into a piece of bread and a bone. We see old footage of the boys mixed with current footage of the boys, or the men, I guess.
Yeah.
And the crowd's like sort of dancing, goes into Daydream Believer, old footage. And it's really awesome. I thought it was really awesome to cut from the 60s them
Yes.
to the 90s them.
Yes.
And like we said it before, we'll say it again. It was great to see the four of them together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it just makes you feel good. You know what I mean?
It really does.
So then they go into Stepping Stone. Peter's bass turns into a foot, and he tickles it and starts laughing.
At least he didn't bite it.
True. Going to I'm a Believer, more old footage. Davy's tambourine turns into a piece of watermelon. Mike's guitar turns into a shark. Then we go into like a rocked up version of Pleasant Valley Sunday, which was kind of cool to hear.
For real.
I thought love was only true in fairy tales. Someone else, but not for me.
Because that's not on Justice, right? Like
No.
it's just for this show. They just did this.
For this show, they did all those songs.
Yeah. That's very. It's almost like I wish that like Justice came was like a flexi single or something that had these new versions.
That would be cool. Like
songs.
this is the only place we can hear these versions of those songs, which are probably the four of them playing them in studio versions of these songs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Strange.
So when we see the boys in the unicycles on the merry-go-round, a lot of cutting to people dancing with their fingers in their ears, which is funny. They finish with a bang and the crowd goes wild. What I would have given to be an extra on this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, could you imagine if you and I in 1996 were like, hey, you guys won a contest.
Whoa.
Like you fill out something at that show and they pulled our names
Oh, my
and
God.
we get to be extras in this and see the four of them in a room together.
That'd be rad.
Man.
That'd be pretty cool.
So anyway, go to commercial break. Back to you. Come back, Chuck Woolery says that they're pros.
A happy ending and no story. I get my lease renewed for 99 years, and there's absolutely no dialogue about it.
The daughter says it's great to see all four of them together like this.
Even though you're all grown up, you're just as stupid as you ever were.
That's when Mickey does the lean.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's devastating.
So funny. She tells Dave that she found out how old she is, and he asks how old, and she says she already forgot.
What a maroon.
So cut back to the boys in the Monkey Mobile, and Peter starts messing with the radio, and each thing happens again as he goes through the buttons. Davey asks what episode this is, and it's number 781. Mickey wonders if the public knows that shows keep going on and on, even though they aren't being broadcast anymore. Which is a very cool idea.
It's fun. It's fun to think about.
It's very neat. They come back to the pad. It's been covered in toilet paper. A throwback to an earlier joke where Mickey says he interrupted them with the kissing thing, so to get their minds off toilet papering the house. That was it. Should have mentioned that at the time, I guess.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Peter likes the way it looks, and Mickey says he might as well finish it off and goes to make himself barf confetti again. But Davey stops him and reminds him that this would be a good end of the show because it would eat up the rest of the budget. And Mike says,
Well, it's as good a place as any. Endings are always hard.
Oh.
So Mickey does it one last time, and we end on a freeze frame of our boys, and the credits go over you and I, not the good version. And we see the boys' faces as they were and how they are now. And we point like Mike does the exact same face as he does in the video. Actually, in that autographed picture I have hanging on the wall over there, it's that face.
Your favorite part of every Monkees episode.
Yeah.
Made twice as nightmare-inducing.
Yeah. So, and then that's the show. Overall thoughts, better than I remembered it being.
Because
when I honestly, man, I hadn't seen it
since then.
Probably since then, maybe a couple times. But I think I remember like having friends over and be like, let's watch this, the Monkees, da da da. And for them, there's like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I think just that vibe and like the weird jokes that are weird and don't land super. I think those stood out more to me than the jokes that did, because I found myself really laughing at a lot of things in this.
It was really cool. It was kind of like a lot of that sort of deadpan airplane Zucker Brothers kind of humor that obviously Mike's into. That's obviously like a elephant parts kind of thing, and a lot of visual gags and just really self-aware, just funny stuff. But also, they rebuilt the pad. They had the Monkey Mobile. It was all very, very Monkees, and put as much monkey stuff as they could into it.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I love the idea the show never stopped.
Yep.
And they kept going and we're buddies the whole time. That was awesome.
For real.
Like there was cheesy jokes and weird moments, but that's what the Monkees were.
For real. For real.
Kept pretty much with the vibe of the show, the original show.
Yeah.
Just like updated a little bit, but overall kept it going. The music videos were a bit weird because they just kind of all held on to one idea. Like they're just kind of plunked in throughout the show.
And it was what, 3 songs made the show?
Yeah.
Of that 12-song album or whatever. It was the CDs. There was like 15, 16, 18 songs on it. It's like every CD in the 90s. Another very 90s thing.
Yeah.
Way too many tunes.
Way too
Just because you have 76 minutes doesn't mean you should use them all.
Very few bands used them and used it. I'd say like Super Unknown. It's like, okay, you did well with that, Soundgarden. But most of the time you're like, what is happening?
Yeah. Like there's some songs that don't need to be on there. But anyway, we've discussed that before.
Yeah. So do you think Mike, I assume Mike directed all the videos as well, like as part of the whole overall package?
I think so, yeah. He's a video guy.
Yeah.
And he directed a All Night Long by Lionel Richie back in the day.
Which
I
is
believe.
crazy. Really?
Yeah.
All Night Long. Wow.
He's got a credit on the record.
Nice. Shit.
And
Yeah. Do you think Mike was like, I'll do this, but I'm writing it? Like, I'm writing, I'm directing. This is how this
I
is
think
going.
that was part of the deal. I think because Mickey and Peter and Davey were like guest stars on Boy Meets World, which was an ABC show at the time, which is probably why this ended up on ABC instead of NBC.
Yeah, that was the thing.
That fits weird, it seems. But maybe they're like, okay, we got our foot in the door here. Mike, come on back, let's do a thing. And like, let's go to the beach, do the usual shit. And like, he's like, okay, but I want to write it. I want to do this. And this might have been during like a lull in his business stuff.
Yep.
And that always seems to be when the Monkees. Like,
Yeah.
he feels all right about it again, and he comes and hangs out and does it. But they did the show, they did this record. The reviews were not great.
Yeah.
And I remember Mike wrote back to Entertainment Weekly, and he was in like the letter section. And he just eviscerates whoever like reviewed it and was like, "This is a good record. We put our hearts into this. We're back in this." And like, I think he got disillusioned pretty quick, and then he was gone again.
Yeah, I think that's how he stuck his head up. I feel this might be like having the inside man, but like having a Monkees fan review this show is what you need. Because if you don't, you're like, you have no concept of what's going on.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're here for, Paco.
Exactly. We should have been working for Entertainment Weekly. So with the show, I found it was ahead of its time with its concept. Like the show hadn't stopped, and they've been doing their thing, even though it's not being broadcast. Like,
yeah, it's very neat.
Yeah, that's kind of thing that wasn't on 90s television, and I think it gets glossed over.
Yeah.
When you think of this episode. And okay, here, this is something I thought of while watching this. Do you think, like, let's say we could take like the 90s Monkees, but they were in the 20 teens, right? Like they're that kind of age and that kind of, they're all around, everything's going.
Yeah.
So could a project like this have worked better in recent years, like the Good Times album? Like, if we could have the Monkees from 96, 97 nowadays, with all the people that would want to get behind it to write, direct, collaborate, the Monkees would have been able to make a show today that was kind of meta and about the show, but also about being the guys in the Monkees. Kind of like this show, but takes place on TV, on a TV show, like docu-style, that kind of stuff that's going on nowadays. If the Monkees could have clicked into that, like even like a single camera show, you know what I mean?
Well, it would have been on like Disney Plus or something.
Or they go like HBO, you know what I mean? Like something like that.
It's Max now.
Yeah, HBO Max. But they could have done that, you know what I mean? And gotten into more of a, not serious, but
it's
surreal within itself.
It could have been like a Black Mirror-ish in places, It could have been like Head here and there.
Yeah.
But it would definitely, I don't think it would be on, a traditional terrestrial TV anymore.
Yeah.
Like if Davey was still alive, he'd have to go back to like 2010. And like streaming shit wasn't as big
That's what I mean.
Big deal yet.
Yeah. Like if we could just,
if it was possible, it would
like hit the multi-dimension button and
like,
do that.
Well, think of like the Weird Al movie.
Yes. That's exactly what, yes.
It could have been something like that.
Perfect. Yeah. That's a great example of it. Do something like tongue in cheek, but also like actually really funny and really good. And a lot of people want to get behind it.
Yeah.
Because they give a shit.
Yeah.
And the Monkees are opening for fucking Oasis next year or something.
But that's the kind of thing where you'd have to find that sweet spot. Like in the Weird Al movie, someone else is playing Weird Al. Weird Al also shows up as an executive, and he's clearly in on the whole thing. He kind of came up.
Yeah.
Would the Monkees do a thing where, kind of like that biopic thing where they got a bunch of guys who sort of look like the Monkees to be the Monkees, and it was at its moments, but it was silly. But would they do a thing like that where there's other people dressed up as the Monkees and they're in it as other characters, like a Ghostbusters Answer the Call kind of thing, but maybe better?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it could have been something like that. There's a bunch of ways they could have done it. And Mike Nesmith might have had that thought or two, here and there.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the kind of thing he might come up with.
I think if Justice was Good Times, this would have come off in a totally different vibe. Because, like, everybody embraced Good Times. Like I'm talking like media embraced Good Times. Like everybody got behind that record.
Even Rolling Stone likes the Monkees now.
Yeah. And it's like if that could have happened with this TV show, and like the Mike and Mickey tour was like a thing, like a real thing that people were talking about. Like, I think it could have really been something if it could have happened now, but obviously it couldn't, but you know what I mean.
And like we've alluded to it when we talk about the songs from Justice, it was a different time. The iron was very cold.
Yes.
And it's Soundgarden time. It's Pearl Jam time. It's Stone Temple Pilots time. It's heavy times.
Yeah. As far as rock music goes. So it's a different vibe.
Yeah.
And now with the internet and people finding Monkees and people having different genres, you can like anything. You can discover anything.
Just the accessibility of all the music now is a whole different story.
Exactly.
It's a golden age for a lot of reasons. I got YouTube Music. I can listen to any video, hear any song, watch any video, ad free. It's a golden age. You can't make a living making music anymore as a side effect of it. But it's still a lot of fun. I love it so much. And we can go buy a bunch of tubes and get a receipt down the street from wherever you are now. It's a golden age.
It's crazy.
Sometimes we take it for granted.
Definitely.
Things used to be a lot more difficult. If you wanted to hear the studio version of Circle Sky, you had to have the tape that you found at a little pawn shop near your house. You could not find it anywhere. You weren't hearing it on the radio.
Yeah, no way.
It was strange. Even in the 90s, if you didn't have it, and if it wasn't on the radio a lot, you wouldn't hear it.
It was gone. Yeah, exactly. And it's such a weird thing. You can have a discography in 8 seconds.
For real.
It's crazy.
Madness.
All right. So, guns? No guns.
No guns.
I really thought something was going to pop up in one of the non-story
Did that security guy have a sidearm? Maybe it was off camera.
Yeah.
But there's no...
Shocking.
No kids with guns.
Yeah. And this is like,
No angry dads with hot daughters with guns.
Yeah. I don't know.
Crazy. Is this really a Monkees episode?
So, highlight of the show, for me, the whole thing. Like, there are obviously little things, but seeing the four of them together in the pad, hanging out, being the effing Monkees was great.
Yeah, the faithful rendition of the pad itself.
Yeah.
Was very cool. But the part where she calls him stupid as they ever been, and Mickey does the lean back. That's the highlight of the show for me, for sure.
For me, it would be the Grapes of Wrath part, just because it's just so funny.
For real.
But yeah, the whole experience was a highlight for me.
It was good.
Was there a Monkees ruse? Not really, because they were going for the whole non-storyline, so it kind of kept the ruse out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
maybe Ethel Merman, that's how they got in the club, perhaps.
There it is.
So that was the Monkees ruse. Fourth wall break. I feel like there must have been, but I can recall it.
I don't think they ever addressed the camera.
I don't think so. There's like the infomercial, but that's an infomercial.
It's different. Yeah. But never they're never like mid-scene, blah, 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 haha.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no. Even the speech bubble part, Peter saying that to the guys. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Best musical moment. I almost hate to say it because it's too middle of the road, but for me it was the medley at the end with all the old tunes with some new kind of vibes mixed in.
Not Regional Girl?
Not Regional Girl.
I mean, I think we're used to it by now when they just bust out a handful of the hits when they're on a talk show or whatever. But this is the first time they did that with the four of them. Yeah. And it's really neat to see.
Yeah. It's like seeing the dudes playing together and like being the real, and like not being the real selves playing, but being the TV Monkees playing these songs together. That was awesome.
It's strange because it's in between, like, when they're the Monkees on the show, they're like these guys that never got famous. And they sort of still are.
Yeah.
Are they themselves?
Yeah, I think they're still like plugging away. Like
it's still just them still doing the thing.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
They didn't come back to do this. They've just always been doing this.
Yeah. And like how you brought up is like, at least they're a band in this show. There's so many episodes where they're not a band at all.
Yes, especially by like second season.
Yeah.
They just have they cut to the Rainbow Room if you want to see them being a band.
Yeah, and this one
they're always doing other shit.
Them being the band was the driving force. If there was a storyline in the show, it was them playing this whatever fundraiser, whatever it was.
They had to save the country club.
Yeah. So
again.
Yeah, again. Classic Monkees moment. There's no don't do that. No stand up, I am standing up or anything like that. But the whole thing felt like a classic Monkees moment.
Kind of, yeah.
You know?
It's true.
They're all committed to doing it, and that's what made this special so great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, no one phoned it in at all.
They were all definitely into it.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I'd
say better than the record, Paco?
Yes, better than the record, I'd say.
Fair enough.
What wouldn't fly in 2024? Perhaps Davey asking the daughter how old she is over and over.
Yeah,
maybe.
God.
But that's kind of it.
Oh, and toaster in the bathtub.
Yeah, maybe that.
Probably couldn't say that these days on a show like this.
Yeah, I think there would be more women and more different races today if it was filmed. Because the whole country club is full of honkies.
That's what a country club is, Paco.
Yeah. All right, some did you knows. We kind of talked on this one. For some reason, this is on ABC, not NBC. But like how you're saying, the Boy Meets World connection. I wonder if Mr. Schneider was an NBC employee, so they had to use the dog mascot instead.
You could have brought in Mr. Feeney instead of Mr. Schneider.
Yes. They changed the words for the theme so they don't sing "We're the Young Generation" because, like, don't be stupid
They
about
left
it.
out a couple of things, from the theme. I noticed that
Yeah,
too.
so they sing the second verse, which is good. You don't have to sing "We're the Young Generation." It's just like, come on.
It's like the Who had to say, "Hope I die before I get oldest."
Hope I die before Rolling Stones.
The race is on.
Yeah, it is. So I read that this was filmed between January 21st and 28th, 1997, but it was aired on February 17th, 1997.
It's a pretty quick turnover on those effects and stuff.
Very quickly. So maybe it's it. The lizard sunning itself on a rock was something they had to actually do.
This was,
They didn't have enough stuff filmed.
Unreal.
Because you couldn't go back and reshoot anything.
Nope.
So that might have been the reason why there were some issues.
Huh.
And that's all I had for this. One thing we did want to talk about, when we watched it on YouTube, it went right to the Big Breakfast show from the UK when the Monkees were on tour in the UK, all four of them.
Yeah.
And kind of talking about this show that was called the American TV Special.
Well, ABC is the American Broadcast Company, so maybe that's how it reads to them.
Oh, maybe.
Or maybe ABC is something else over there.
Yeah, it's the start of the alphabet.
Like a different... like a different channel, like competing with the BBC, and they didn't want to put ABC,
No, maybe.
Maybe, but it is an American show. It is, accurate.
It was very interesting to see all four of them.
It's neat because Annabelle Jones is sitting with Davey, one of his daughters.
Yep.
Who looks way too much like him.
And it is funny because Davey does make kind of a sexual joke. Like about it depends on what position the girl is in, and the woman's like, "Your daughter's on your lap." He's like, "No, don't worry about it." Like,
she's cool.
Yeah, she's seen a lot.
Where do you think she came from?
Yeah, exactly.
My goodness.
Yeah, she's already taller than him.
But Mike's haircut and beard is like trimmed real tight.
He's weird. Yeah, looks weird.
He looks different. You don't see Mike like that very often. And if you dig up this, I recommend you dig up this clip.
Yes.
And just look at their name tags. That's all I'll say. There's a lot of jokes within these name tags.
Yeah, and I feel trying to get the Monkees, especially as grown-ups, to give you any kind of interview is like a bag of drop marbles. Like they're all going off making jokes. They do an airplane joke, "Don't call me Shirley" joke.
Yep.
And there's so much going on in this interview. This poor woman just trying to keep it together. And but no, it's pretty fun. It's only like a 5-minute interview, but it's very interesting. I'd never ever seen it.
Never seen it, and it quickly jumped to it after we watched the Justice special. Like it was on someone's tape right after it that they recorded. We thought it was part of the same clip, but
I thought it was. Yeah,
it hopped over with no ads in between for a change.
Yeah,
and it was,
that's what threw me off.
But yeah, I'd never seen it before. It was a fun surprise, and y'all should check it out.
Yeah.
It's fun that we get to talk about it and bring it to you. And fun in general, just doing the show again, Paco. What do you say?
This is great. I do want to say one thing is I am so happy, like no matter what people think of this special, I'm so happy it happened. Just to have the four of them as adults doing the Monkees, doing it well.
Cool.
It was just fantastic. Yeah, I feel weird because we're like coming to the end of this episode. I'm like, have we done it right? Is this how we usually do this? Because it's been so long since we've done this.
So, no, usually we talk about a few of the tunes.
Yeah, I think that's why it feels weird.
We're missing that part of the show. We snuck one in the middle, an unofficial addition to the countdown. I don't know.
Yes.
We don't have the spreadsheet out right now. So
no.
Just tuck it in there in your minds.
Yeah.
I don't know if it came out as the B-side to Regional Girl or anything in real life on a single or anything, but Antarctica was a nice moment.
I'm surprised it didn't pop up on the Monkees Christmas album.
Hey.
Right? Like.
Well, that's the South Pole, you see.
I guess so. Santa still gives presents to South Pole. He doesn't discriminate.
I suppose
Still goes down there.
Fair enough.
But they had Arctica. Like, no, we need another syllable. Doesn't sound right.
But this is the Monkees planting their flag in the 90s, just like they did in the 80s.
Yep.
Sort of did in the 70s with Dolan Jones, Boys and Heart, and of course the 60s. And then we had to wait a little bit for good times, but
there it was.
There they were.
Yeah.
Like, name another band that did that. There's not many.
No, especially the way the Monkees disappeared and came back.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of interesting.
More than once.
Yeah. But all right, so we will be coming back with our head episodes.
It's our white whale.
I cannot say exactly when it's going to happen. Jeff and I, because we got to be together to do it, to watch the movie together and record it together. So
I think it makes editing a little easier.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, depends how psychedelic we get.
Fair enough.
See, the commentary might not even be released if it's just a mess. But we will definitely do the breakdown, and that'll probably be like a two-parter for sure.
Yeah.
And so awesome, fantastic. We hope you guys enjoyed us coming back.
Yeah, I hope you're still there.
Yeah, we hope you guys remembered us. We do have an Instagram again. They finally listen, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I couldn't remember the password to our Instagram. I wrote to Instagram saying, hey, I don't know what it is. And never heard back, so I thought it was done. Literally 10 months after I wrote, over a year, they wrote to me recently saying, here's your new password for Podcast Valley Sunday.
My God.
So we can get back into it. So we'll do a post for this. And we'll start posting monkey stuff, because why not?
Oh, I had the password all along. It was Mr. Dabalina, Mr. Bob Dabalina, the number 1 exclamation point. Remember?
Darn it.
Come on.
So, all right, kids. From me, Paco.
And me, Jeff.
Have yourselves a Monkees little evening.
Thank you. Good night.